नमस्कार अनि स्वागत गर्न चाहन्छु सिक्किम क्रोनिकलमा। भर्खरै मात्र केही दिन अघि हामीले तपाईहरूलाई याङचेन को इन्टरभ्यू लिएर आएका थियौँ अनि याङचेन यसपालिको सिक्किमबाट युपिएससी पास गर्ने एकजना क्यान्डिडेट हुनुहुन्थ्यो भने हामीसँग अर्को क्यान्डिडेट हुनुहुन्छ हु इनफ्याक्ट इज अल्सो फ्रम द स्टेट अफ सिक्किम अनि उहाँले पनि युपिएससी पास गर्नुभएको छ। उहाँ हुनुहुन्छ मिस्टर जिङदेन लिङजेर्पा अनि उहाँ आरिथाङ इस्ट सिक्किमबाट हुनुहुन्छ अनि उहाँ अहिले दिल्लीमा हुनुहुन्छ अनि हामी यो जुम इन्टरभ्यू तपाईहरूलाई लिएर आइरहेका छौँ। Zingden, congratulations first of all, many congratulations to you. In fact, you have made not only your parents proud but the entire state, you and Yangchen. So first and foremost, I would like to ask you, what was the ranking?
Thank you so much for having me, Sikkim Chronicle, and Nirmal to you in particular. Thank you so much for the congratulatory messages. And as far as the ranking goes, last year I was ranked 725th and this year it's 794.
So this is your second attempt, right?
This is my second successful attempt. Overall, this has been my fourth attempt into the civil services.
Right. Are you happy with the ranking?
Happy, I would say it's a very relative term. I mean, everyone is happy that they make it to the list, but I think once you make it into the list, there is again another hierarchy of happiness that comes with it. And as far as that goes, yeah, I think you always aspire for something to improve. So that's still there.
So tell us, like, what is going on in your mind right now? I mean, I'm sure lots of thinking might be popping up, so what is your emotion right now?
That's a very good question. In fact, it's very important to understand all that thing that goes beyond all that thing of congratulatory messages and happiness and all that. So as of now, actually, I have been pretty busy with my work. As I'd mentioned to you, I'm in the Indian Economic Service batch of 2018. So based on that, I have been posted as Assistant Director in the Ministry of Labor and Employment in Delhi. So in that regard, yeah, I have been busy. But as far as the pop-ups with regard to civil services go, I'm still in a bit of a confusion whether to be satisfied and happy with this result or whether to go on for another attempt. So I still have to make my mind on that.
Zingden, when was it you thought when I would be now appearing or I'll be preparing for the UPSC? When was that first thought came in your mind?
Okay, I think the dream of being a civil servant had always been there since childhood. I mean, I have looked up to various civil servants within my family and outside. Particularly, I would like to mention my aunt, late Sange Laden, who was an IAS officer from the state of Sikkim. Right. She was the one who gave me and my siblings our respective names, and she had been very close to us during our childhood formative years. So it had been very aspirational to see someone like her shine. So in that regard, yeah, it had always been there. Even my parents, my father in particular, was very persuasive of being a civil servant. He always thought bureaucracy are the pillars of the Indian democracy. And in that regard, it was always there. But a definite decision to go and sit for the civil services, I think it was in the year 2015-16 when I was enrolled in my first year of MPhil in JNU. That's when I took the plunge.
Right. So your father was a very well-known politician from the state of Sikkim. You never thought of joining politics?
I think I would like to say that there's always a step-by-step procedure in a person's life as far as work opportunities or career goes. I think as of now, I'm very happy and fortunate and very focused on my role as a civil servant. And I have actually, in fact, not thought anything about the very exciting and very important role as a politician.
Right. So to pursue with your preparation as well as to maintain your work is somewhat very challenging task. Even this was something which I asked Yangchen recently in an interview. How do you guys, balance your work as well as the preparation? Tell us something about this, the preparations.
Yes, as you rightly pointed out, it's very difficult to balance. In fact, when you have a full-time job, I think it's very important to really very efficiently, effectively, and very strategically divide your hours of the day. So every free time you get, you have to use it as effectively as possible. That said, you should not overburden yourself. You should not overpressurize yourself. You have to know how best you can maximize your efficiency given the amount of free time you have. So like in terms of like people, you have had lots of successful candidates. I think even the AIR the rank number 1 in this particular civil service exam was also in a service when he gave this the last attempt. So people have said that they use time that they time taken during conveyance, lunch breaks, after office hours. Then you try and accumulate your casual leaves, and then you do it in just before the exam. That's where you really increase your workload. So I think balancing priorities as well as time management is the key here.
Right. Would you like to mention some of the factors which really helped you to crack this one of the toughest examinations of the country?
I think it's a mixed bag of factors. The most important and the primary factor that I would like to lay emphasis on is determination, perseverance, and grit. I mean, this exam is all about patience. No one will have a thoroughly smooth sail in this exam. Even if you clear this exam in the first attempt, there is a lot of hard work that goes behind the scenes. You have a lot of emotional and mental rides. You feel you have your ups and downs. You feel like giving up sometimes, but you have to again get back up, be resilient, have that grit. Secondly, the second and most important is focus on your concepts. Everyone has stated enough that you go back to your basics, you do your NCRTs, you read your basic newspapers, have a idea of general awareness, everything that's going around your society, in your country, in India, abroad, international news. I think you have to have a very aware mind. And thirdly, I think what we had just discussed, it's about time management. Intelligent and smart studies, I think, is the key here.
uh, Lakhs and lakhs of candidates who appeared for the prelims. Then there was a filtration for the mains, and only 2,300 mixed in the Viva. Tell us about your experience as of what kind of questions were asked to you during your Viva.
So I've given the UPSC personality test thrice, one for the Indian Economic Service exam and twice for the Civil Services exam. So I would just like to just go through the rough questions. So it ranges right from your basic background,
Mm-hmm.
your educational background, your state, your family, your work experience. I think work experience is very important in this regard. Then just questions on general society, general your various analysis and opinions on current affairs. Like I would just like to give an example of they've asked about the current Indian economic situation, the trade deficit, the current account deficit, primarily because I was from an economic background. Then the questions also range to my hobbies, like for that matter, tennis. So even if you have someone in the board, some member board member who has a lot of overlap with your interest, he or she may ask about that particular hobby,
Right.
and can also range to your optional subject. And yeah, questions can be anything under the sky.
Exactly. Now, Zingding, the achievement and the triumph is not alone for you. As I said in the beginning, that like the entire state is proud of you. And so there might be many people who supported and who played an instrumental role in, like, helping you out. Would you like to mention few?
Yeah, like I initially mentioned, the support of my family, especially my parents, siblings, my two sisters, cousins, friends, and my distant relatives as well. It's always been instrumental, like when we mentioned about the ups and downs, it's to them you look for comfort. It's them to you look for support, for that emotional support, which is very important during testing times. So yeah, I think it's a collective effort by everyone.
So which service basically would you like to prioritize?
As far as the priority of the service goes, frankly, I think I would be more than happy to serve into any service that's been assigned to me, allotted to me, and as
Mhm.
I'm currently doing in the Indian Economic Services. But priority, yes, I've given Indian Foreign Service as my first preference, followed by the Indian Administrative Service.
Why foreign service?
I think, yeah, in this on this question, I would also like to raise a larger point. I
Right.
think it's very important. You should not just go with the herd behavior. This should be very clear to all the aspirants. Just because majority of the people, majority of the aspirants see a particular service as their top priority, you should not prioritize likewise.
Mm-hmm.
That said, I think you should focus on where your interest lies, because this is a career you're talking about. This is just not a 1 day or a 2 day matter of choice that you can return. This is 30, 35 years of service that you're going to put into. So you should see where, most primarily, where you as an individual can contribute the most. And that will like very much depend upon your talent, your own personality. That will depend upon your areas of interest. And secondly, that said, I think do not compare two services. Like it's like comparing apples and oranges. Some people like
Hmm.
apples more, some people like oranges more. Rather, you should see you in this service A, or you yourself in that service B, where you will be able to get the greatest amount of satisfaction and be able to contribute the most. In
Hmm.
that regard, yeah, when I analyzed that, I felt that my area of interest and my contribution would be maximized into the realm of diplomacy. So that's why I've picked Indian Foreign Service as my first preference.
All right. I'd like to talk something impertinent about the issue, which in fact most of the people who prepares for the civil service or maybe the IIT entrance goes through, and that is the mental health issue. With so much of performance pressure and with so much of uh, overburdened with the preparation, how do you correlate mental health and this kind of preparation for the civil service? Did you ever went through any kind of stress, performance pressure?
Yes, this is a very, very important issue. Like initially, how we mentioned, we only see the success and the congratulations that follow. We do not generally see the aspirants behind the scenes, all the
Hmm.
hard work and the turmoil that goes on. Mental emotional health is very important in this regard. The performance pressure, as you mentioned, because the competition is massive, it's like at an all-time high, I would say. So that said, it's very important to focus on your mental health as well as your physical health. Do not be overburdened with, just don't say that you will study 12 to 14 hours a day every day. I personally don't think it's practical to study that for more than a year, 12 to 14 hours every day. Secondly, always have an area to let off your steam. Have a hobby. You can play a sport, you can read, you can listen to music, you can get into some art, you can just watch a movie, do anything every week or 10 days. Just give yourself some time off. Just let off that steam. Talk to your friends and family who are very supportive of you. It's very important to stay focused, and as well as, and obviously have a very healthy diet, stay fit. And yeah, I think in this regard, it's very important to have a good sense of your emotional, mental, and physical health. It's very important to balance all three.
Now that you have decided to render your service through civil service to the people and the society in a larger context pan India, so much has been discussed about, like, corruption free India, so much of discussions and debate. uh, Now, what is your idea of corruption free India, since you'll be now, like, in the service?
Corruption free India in general.
Right.
I personally feel corruption free India starts with corruption free Indians.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as long as the individual and the society is clean or non-corrupt, I think India that way is the only way that you can achieve a corruption-free India. So that said, corruption can be, you can, thought, mind, action, deed at every level. As individuals, as part of intrinsic part of the society, we have to ensure that corruption is rooted out from ourselves. Only then can you foresee a more cleaner and a more systematic form, a more efficient form of uh, governance. And in that regard, in governance, you have people as the individuals as well as people from the civil society. Like people from the media, like you all, for example, also play a very important role in this realm of corruption-free India. And then obviously you have the state and the market. So I think all these four pillars, with every individual, every Indian in the centerpiece, have to move together towards a corruption-free India. Only then can we see one.
All right, since you have economics background, let me ask you one question. We know that the COVID-19 has largely affected the economy, worldwide. What is your observation? What can be done to bring back the economy to the pedestal?
Do you mean the world economy or Indian economy in
Let's talk in
particular?
context to Indian economy.
Like we've seen in terms of COVID, the primary concern was the case of job losses. I mean, that is the basic side of demand that pushes the economy. If you do not have employment, firstly, the demographic advantage that we as India is witnessing today because of our youthful bulge, we are actually not, we are not being able to maximize on that front. Secondly, if you don't have job growth or you don't have employment opportunities, your demand will not come, because only the purchasing power capacity can only come from employment generation. And thirdly, even from the supply side, we've seen factories, we've seen warehouses, we've seen most of the supply chains being we've seen supply chains break down, as well as production houses shut down. So I think it is a mix of both demand and supply side, that this exogenous shock of COVID that has been imposed on us. That said, I think to bring back the economy like how the government has done, I think it's very important to directly try and engage the people. You have to work on both your demand and your supply side. Like the increase in Manrega allocation, for that matter, under the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana is a step in that direction. Or for that matter, PDS that has been given, that the range of PDS that has been increased, that is mainly to push up your demand. And on the supply side, you have all these ease of doing business, you have your tax concessions, your loan interest moratoriums that has been given, your increase in liquidity, your credit facilities towards your MSMEs, because MSMEs are the backbone of our economy. Around 50% of our workforce is directly engaged in MSMEs. So I think all these steps together can, over a period of time, revive our economy back to the pedestal.
Right. Zenden, why do you think there is so less representation of the candidates in civil service examinations when we talk about the Northeast India? What are the factors which are holding them back? What is your observation of this?
From what I have observed, I think Northeast forms around 4% of the 8 states, forms around 4% of our population. And if you look through, I see a fair representation of people from the Northeast vis-a-vis the proportion of population. That said, there are obviously there are a lot of challenges for people from the Northeast to compete at an all India level. First and most importantly, I think probably I would say the lack of educational facilities. You see most of the people from the Northeast coming to the big cities, even for college education. Now people are even coming right from school education. Whether we like it or not, even I think even in the state of Sikkim, the scholarships that the meritorious students get, they are sent to all across in the best schools all across India. In the short run, that is a very good scheme. That's a very good program. But we have to also see that in the long run, why can't we have similar schools in Sikkim itself, so that these students do not have to leave Sikkim to pursue better educational facilities? We have to have better, even at the college level, better facilities. And now it was increasingly because people used to come to centers like Delhi for coaching facilities. But given the online platform, digital platform, I think now it's very much possible to excel even just by studying at home. Okay. So I think that also will over time bridge the gap.
So what do you think where our Sikkimese youth are heading to? Through what prism you see our Sikkimese youth?
Of late, I've been seeing Sikkimese youth uh, get into a diverse field of activities, and that's very inspiring. Like you have people with their various startups. You have things like the Whiz Ride. You have people starting their own
Right,
cooking
right.
shows,
Yes.
cooking workshops. I mean, these are those avenues that we as youth have to exploit and take advantage of.
Mm-hmm.
Not, we cannot just wait for one particular source of employment opportunity. Wherever your talent, wherever your interest takes you, I think we have to try and exploit in that particular field.
So what is the
So these are
biggest,
very encouraging steps.
right? So what is the biggest strength of Zenden? What is that driving biggest strength?
Like I initially mentioned, I think it was all about determination and grit. I
Mm.
think that is just not Zenden centric. I think behind every successful person, there has to be a certain level of determination and grit. Nothing comes easy for everyone. I mean, obviously, we have to understand there are inequalities in a society. And for some people, some things come relatively easier, but not easy,
Mm.
relatively easier or relatively more difficult because of inequalities. But that said, I think determination and grit is the key to success in any major field.
Right. So, Zenden, tell us about your hobbies. I mean, like what you do when you are not working, when you are not studying, what you do.
Uh, I like to play tennis. I play badminton on a daily level, on a daily scale. And I have been now learning to play the keyboard.
Mm-hmm.
I also occasionally like to, like everyone, watch some series on Netflix, Amazon Prime. And I've also tried, I also play football, watch football and tennis. Yeah, so I have a diverse range of hobbies.
So, when are you planning to come home next?
Yeah, I personally would like to come sooner than later, but given the COVID situation, I think that's difficult as of now. But just for a visit, I hope to come soon and to serve the larger interest of the Sikkimese society as an officiating civil servant. I really hope to come soon.
Exactly. So, Zindan, there are so many people, in fact, who prepares for UPSC examination or for the civil service examination, and even from the state of Sikkim, we have many good bunch of young aspirants. So, I mean, would you like to share some of the tips with them as of taking the preparation? Some tips to them.
Okay, firstly, don't jump into the civil services bandwagon just because your friend or someone you know is jumping or the larger society is jumping. That's
Mm-hmm.
very important. Take
Mm-hmm.
your time because as soon as you turn 21, you might not have that level of maturity to decide what would you like for the rest 30, 40 years. So take your time if that's what it takes, but then decide according to your interests that what would you like to work as, have a career. If that is clear and then you jump and then you feel convinced that civil services is the bandwagon you actually want to join in, then you have to back that up with a level of hard work, patience. You will have ups and downs. Be focused, be focused, stay healthy, like we discussed, mental, emotional, physical health, and always feel that you know that you are not, you should not always believe in luck. There is an element of luck, but I've seen people that I've sometimes myself, when we are pushed against the wall, we say we feel ki it's been unlucky towards me, the luck is not on my side. So try, if the harder you work, I think that the possibility of luck gets diminished. So I think, yeah, focus, health, determination, I think these are the key.
Right. You did your education, I mean, schooling from St. Paul's, right?
Yes.
Tell us.
St.
I
Paul's
mean,
School.
yeah. Tell us. What did you pursue after that?
Okay, I finished my class 12 from St. Paul's School, Darjeeling, post which I did my graduation in economics honors from Sri Ram College of Commerce, Delhi University. And I followed that up with MA and MPhil in economics from Jawaharlal Nehru University, Delhi.
Right. And what's the age?
As of today,
Yes,
yeah, it's 29.
29. Okay, it was such a pleasant conversation with you, and Zindan, we once
Thank you so
again
much.
wish you many, many congratulations. And we would like to take a final closing note from you as of a message in general to the people of Sikkim.
Firstly, I would thank you so much for having me, and it's been an absolute pleasure interacting with Sikkim Chronicle in general and you in particular, and getting my voice across to the larger Sikkimese society. And the message that I would like to give is stay focused, stay positive, stay determined, and always think of improving yourself as a citizen. And I think that if you improve as a citizen, as an individual, I think that can be a greatest contribution to the society.
All right. Many, many congratulations once again, Zindan. We wish you all the best for your future endeavor and make us proud, make Sikkim proud. This is what we want to say. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much. Thank you so much.
र तपाईँहरूले पनि जिन्देनलाई मेसेज पठाउन सक्नुहुनेछ अनि आइएम स्योर जिन्देन विल बी इन फ्युचर हेल्पिङ मेनी पिपल मेनी स्टुडेन्ट्स हु वान्ट्स टु लाइक prepare for the civil service. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll come up with more such inspiring stories. And you can also visit and read the stories at www.thesikkimchronicle.com. Thank you, Zindan. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.